Good evening, I'm Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. Malaysia Today recorded the highest number of COVID-19 recoveries since the MCO started, with 333 patients being discharged. Meanwhile, 11 new cases were reported. Now, moving on to the world of politics. More drama from Pakatan Harapan. It appears that Pakatan Harapan has yet to decide on who their candidate for Prime Minister will be in the event they return to power. Ibrahim's aide, Farhash, Wafa, Salvador, Rizal, Mubarak has denied a Free Malaysia Today report which claimed that Pakatan Harapan has decided on Dr. Mahathir Muhammad and Anwar as its Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister candidates. Farhash said the claim is not true as the matter remained under discussion. Earlier, the news website had quoted an anonymous PKR insider who alleged that Harapan will allow Mahathir to serve as Prime Minister until the end of 2020, provided there is a written agreement on a handover to Anwar. The disputed Bersatu chairperson and the PKR president have been locked in a stalemate over the issue, delaying and possibly derailing the opposition's efforts to initiate a counter-coup against the Pakatan national government. Previously, Harapan and its allies said they'll reach an agreement on the matter today. However, at the time of reporting, no announcement had been made. According to the Prime Minister's office, Muhyiddin Yassin is healthy and Sarawak report has been accused of defaming the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister's office has denied a claim by Sarawak report that Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin had breached home quarantine last month to seek cancer treatment in Singapore. In a statement today, the PMO stressed that Muhyiddin had observed a full 14-day quarantine and did not leave his house after coming into contact with a COVID-19 patient. The PMO also produced documents declaring that Muhyiddin did not have cancer and was fit to lead the country. In the statement, his office said that the allegations made by Sarawak report that the PM broken quarantine rules and flew overseas are baseless and merely fiction created by the writer. The statement added that the writer in Sarawak report must be held accountable for the false allegations hurled at the Prime Minister. Last week, Sarawak report had published an article claiming that the Prime Minister travelled to Singapore for overnight pancreatic cancer treatment on May 26th. They also alleged that Muhyiddin, who underwent surgery for pancreatic cancer in Singapore in 2018, was currently extremely ill and unfit for the role and demanded transparency on the PM's health condition. Malaysiakini will be facing contempt of court proceedings sparked by comments posted by its users. Attorney General Idris Harun has filed an ex parte application to initiate contempt of court proceedings against Malaysiakini and its editor-in-chief. The application, which was filed yesterday, is scheduled to be heard at the Federal Court in Putrajaya tomorrow morning. In his affidavit, the AG said the application is with regard to readers' comments in an article dated June 9th titled, CJ orders all courts to be fully operational from July 1st. Citing 5 comments, he alleged that they clearly meant that the judiciary committed wrongdoings, is involved in corruption, does not uphold justice and compromised its integrity. He added that these comments threaten public confidence in the judiciary and are clearly aimed at tarnishing the administration of justice by the judiciary. Idris alleged that Malaysiakini had erred in facilitating the publication of these comments, which were unwarranted and demeaning attacks on the judiciary. Earlier today, officers from Bukit Aman recorded Malaysiakini Editor-in-Chief Stephen Gunn's statement over the same matter. The case is being investigated under the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998 as well as the Penal Code. Meanwhile, in a separate matter, former Deputy Women, Family and Community Development Minister Hannah Heo has been summoned by Bukit Aman for questioning over a tweet she made back in March, which had queried about the fate of the National Strategic Plan to address the causes of underage marriage under her successor, Siti Zailah Muhammad Yusof. Bukit Aman CID Deputy Director Mior Wahid told Malaysiakini that Heo is being investigated under Section 505 of the Penal Code and Section 233 of the Communications and Multimedia Act. Isa Samad was in court today, where he learned he'll have to defend himself.
Former Felda chairperson Muhammad Isa Abdul Samad has been ordered by the Kuala Lumpur High Court today to enter his defence over 9 corruption charges totalling more than 3 million ringgit in connection with the purchase of the Merdeka Palace Hotel and Suites in Kuching, Sarawak. Speaking to reporters after High Court Judge Muhammad Nazlan Muhammad Ghazali made his judgment, Isa revealed that he was acquitted of 1 charge. This comes after Judge Muhammad Nazlan said the prosecution had succeeded in establishing a prima facie case against Isa over the 9 graft charges.
10 charges yang dibuat. Charges yang pertama ialah CBT. CBT pihak mahkamah, hakim telah melepas dan membebaskan saya. Melepas dan membebaskan saya. Yang 9 kes lagi itu saya kena defend pada Ogos, dan saya telah mengambil pilihan buat pengakuan bersumpah dan menjawab soalan dalam bukannya saksi.
Isa, 71, was charged with 1 count of criminal breach of trust and 9 counts of receiving bribes of more than 3 million ringgit in connection with the purchase of the hotel by Felda Investment Corporation Sendirian Berhad. The offences were allegedly committed at the Felda Tower Platinum Park in Kuala Lumpur between the 29th of April 2014 and the 15th of December 2015.
Former UMNO Minister Rais Yathim and 4 others were sworn in today as senators. In a press conference after the ceremony, he also offered some advice for the Pakatan national government. Former UMNO Minister Rais Yathim has urged Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin to be given space to lead the country following comments by UMNO and Bersatu leaders on which parties should be sacrificing more to make Pakatan Nasional viable. Rais said the conflicting views expressed so far were made by individuals and it doesn't represent the views of their respective parties.
Oleh itu, kata-kata yang memecahkan ukhuwah tidak harus dikeluarkan sekarang. Jika kita mahu memegang tampuk perjuangan secara telus dan berkesan. Sekiranya pihak-pihak yang disebut nama tadi mengeluarkan pandangan, saya kira itu adalah pandangan peribadi, bukan pandangan parti. Pandangan parti setahu saya belum dibuat oleh mana-mana pihak.
Rais said this when he was asked to respond to a comment made by Bersatu Supreme Council member Wan Saiful Wan Jan. Wan Saiful had called for UMNO to sacrifice for the sake of Pakatan Nasional, a comment which irked UMNO leader Puat Zakarshi. In a statement, Puat said Bersatu is a party without grassroots and its members in parliament were supported by defections from UMNO and PKR. Therefore, what's wrong with Bersatu sacrificing instead by joining Pakatan Nasional without any conditions? Earlier today, Rais Yathim and Razzi Sheikh Ahmad were among 5 new senators sworn in. The other 3 were past Vice President Idris Ahmad, past Supporters Wing Chief and Bala Subramaniam, and former Political Secretary to Dr. Mahathir Muhammad, Muhammad Zaid Mat Arif. This gives Bersatu new representatives in the Senate as well as 2 for PAS. All 5 were appointed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Coming up next, we continue with our exclusive interview with Opposition Leader Anwar Ibrahim. In this latest part of our exclusive interview with Anwar Ibrahim, we asked him about PKR's weakening presence in Sarawak.
Well, that happens to be, partly I would concede my problem because I think we just left Sarawak and Sabah at that time to Azmin's group, to just deal with it because they have the funds from Selangor, etc. So he had that core or support. And if you follow, I had problems for the last years or so, because I could see the trend, no longer about policies or NCR or land rights. It's just a matter of position and the perks that they're getting. And of course, finally they were appointed, and this is it's not the party that appointed them to the cabinet. It's Azmin who appointed them to the cabinet, which to me is really odd, but that's the reality, and that's why we have a problem in the party, that apparently not much help from PH government in that sense. But I don't think they are getting enough support from the base because they are seen to be aligned with UMNO and PAS. That's number 1. Number 2, you see that they're not moving at all. The ground's not shaken. It's just the leaders who are getting the perks. So we are monitoring it now with the new team, and we are getting even new intellectuals and professionals coming in, which I think there's still some hope. But it's tough. I agree with you. It's not easy. It hasn't been easy. Except when you start playing, like here you say Melayu untuk Semenanjung, then you have Dayak untuk Sabah, or ada Dayak untuk Sarawak, dan Kadazan. You play that race card. It's not going to help. It's not going to sustain.
With massage centres still not allowed to operate under the Recovery Movement Control Order, people with disabilities who have made a living from providing such services are feeling the squeeze. And to make things worse, there's not much government aid for this group.
The Recovery Movement Control Order or RMCO has opened the path for many businesses to begin operating. But not every business can. For example, massage and reflexology centers still cannot open. In Malaysia, there are around 3,000 to 5,000 blind massage therapists, and for about 3 months they have lost their ability to make money, and this has put them in a tough spot. 57-year-old blind massage therapist Izzadin Abdul Razak owns a blind massage center. With the movement control order, he has been deprived of his steady monthly income to support his family.
Therefore, OKU pengeluaran ni difficult sikit. Kalau orang OKU lain, dia ada mata, senang sikit nak buat kerja.
Izzadin said that he wouldn't mind following the standard operating procedures as long as the government allows them to resume their operations.
Semua perniagaan di mana kita ada pelanggan keluar masuk, semua ada risiko. So, macam mana pun ada risiko. Tapi kalau semua orang ikut peraturan, jaga kebersihan, macam urut ni sentuhan kena sentuh badan orang. Kalau kita basuh tangan sebelum customer nak urut, lepas urut kita terus basuh tangan. Kita encourage customer pun pakai mask, kita pakai mask. Lepas tu naik kedai suruh dia basuh tangan dia sebab dia pegang sana pegang sini kan. So kita pun kena jagalah kita punya doorknob tu semua kita kena sanitize ataupun pakai sabun yang kuat sikit, and then kita lap doorknob semua tempat yang bersentuhan, selalu cuci kita punya tandas dan tinggi-tinggi tu semua. Saya rasa insyaAllah boleh. Sekarang lebih-lebih lagi lah, so kita elok ada appointment, kita jarakkan antara customer. Mungkin pendapatan kita mungkin kurang sikit, tapi at least kita bisnes berjalan dan pendapatan masuk daripada kosong kan.
Most of the blind masseurs are not originally from the city, so they will have to bear paying rent and other living expenses despite not having a stable income at the moment. In the case of Izzadin, even paying his part-timers during the MCO is something he cannot afford.
Kesian, semua orang kesian lah. Saya pun tak boleh dapat pendapatan, dia orang pun sama lah. Mungkin dia orang pun tak ada income lah sebenarnya.
Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin recently announced a 300 ringgit one-off financial aid for the disabled under the Penjana scheme. However, the aid comes with terms and conditions, and only those who have registered with the Welfare Department are qualified. The Society for the Advancement of the Blind, or PPOBM, has estimated that about 50,000 blind people in the country are unregistered, which means only a small fraction of the visually impaired will be receiving the financial aid. Since most blind masseurs work on a part-time basis, they are also not qualified for the subsidy under the Economic Recovery Plan. The Malaysian Association for the Blind, or MAB, has urged the relevant ministries to expedite the SOPs so that the businesses and training centres for this industry can reopen as soon as possible, or to provide direct financial assistance to the industry if it must remain closed. To curb the spread of COVID-19, most government departments and private sectors have moved their operations online. MAB also urged the government and relevant agencies to make online applications accessible for the visually impaired by providing readable or voice-activated functions.
And that is all for me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. We'll be back with more tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Rizal Michael. Thank you for watching.